I've been covering the basic science of COVID and how it's pretty gnarly, and a lot of people are saying, okay, I get that it's horrible, but what do you want me to do about it? It feels kind of hopeless. I don't think it's hopeless. I think there's three things we need to look at. We need to look at our culture around COVID, institutional response to COVID, and individual response. We have solved problems like this before. We invented sewer systems because human waste was getting people sick. We clean our water and do waste management and all these different things because clean water is important to protect us. We need clean air. That's one cultural shift, is acknowledging that there are harmful things floating in the air and we need to do something about it. I'll go over what to do about it, but first it's just that decision of I deserve clean air. Similarly, people need to decide that they reject mass illness. They reject that everyone has to get sick every winter, and it's going to take time before we can stop that happening, but the first step is saying, I reject this, I will not say that this is okay. Parents, I really feel for you. You're put in an impossible situation. Rather than ignoring everything that's going on, I think you need to say, right now, I don't know how to keep my kids from getting sick, but I reject this idea that kids are sick constantly and it's okay for my kid to get COVID 5, 6, 7, 8 times. I reject that idea and I need to figure out what to do about it. Now, I acknowledge this is an uphill battle because public health is basically minimizing COVID because they don't want to spend the money to keep us safe. It's that simple. The stuff they're saying is not based in science. They just say, wash your hands for an airborne virus. It makes no sense. They don't want to pay for air filters, improved HVAC. Masks are unpopular. The real reason they hate masks is because it reminds everyone that the pandemic is not over and there's still threats that the government is not helping us with. So we can collectively shift the culture if we say this is not normal and this is not okay. We should not all be sick this much. It is COVID. It's hurting our immune systems. It's ridiculously contagious. It's floating in the air. We need to do something about it. It's step one. Step two, if you alone know this and you're fighting the world by yourself, you're going to lose. You're going to feel hopeless. You need to find a couple friends who understand what's going on. If you know anyone who is getting cancer treatments, for example, anyone who's immunocompromised, a lot of people who are most at risk know all these things. So I'd encourage you to reach out to those people and say, hey, I'm becoming aware of what's going on. Can we talk about this? Or I'd like to be an ally in this. I want to wear a mask more often. What are you doing to stay safe? Do you want to hang out, wear a mask together? Let's chat. Those connections are what is going to save us. If you're a parent, talk to other parents. Say, hey, my kid has just been sick constantly. This is not normal. It wasn't like this when I was a kid. Have you been seeing this too? I'm worried. I don't know what the answers are, but let's talk about it. Same with teachers. I get comments all the time from teachers who say, I don't feel safe going to school. I think all of us know that things are off. People can sense that there's a problem. We need to talk to each other about it. And online is a place to do that. I encourage you to make connections online, local Reddit groups, Facebook groups, TikTok. There's a website called covidmeetups.com. You need to look for people that are willing to take this seriously, but there are people all around you who are thinking this and they're just waiting for someone to say something. Next, I'm going to talk about what we individually can do to keep ourselves safe because we need institutions to kind of ramp that up at scale. What individuals can do is wear quality masks. A surgical mask is not designed for airborne threats. It's designed for a liquid splatter. It's not going to help you in an airborne pandemic. These things, I'm going to do some videos on how air filters and masks work. Anyone who tells you they don't work is just lying. Ignore them or use the resources I'm going to put out there to tell them why they're full of shit. So, there is no reason that you can't wear a mask to a medical appointment. With rare exceptions, there are some people out there who have, facial issues where a mask is very painful for them. There are some people with lung issues where breathing through a mask is difficult. That is a very small subset of people. For most people, you can wear this 8 hours at a time. I did it to work for an entire year. I wore a mask every single day. There's no problems with it. If you don't wear this to a medical appointment, you are putting yourself at risk. You're putting other people at risk. There's no reason you can't wear this on a train. There's no reason you can't wear this in Target, in Walmart. Wear this. Probably the main reason you're not doing it is related to that culture point. You don't want to be the only one doing it. I encourage you to be the one person doing this or to be the second or third person doing it because you're going to see other people wearing these and we need to change the culture around that. There are things called non-pharmaceutical interventions. This is a nose spray called Betadine. There's a bunch of other nose sprays. I have a toolkit in my bio that gives you options. None of them are affiliate links. We have nasal rinses that wash your sinuses out. There are saltwater gargles. All these things are evidence-based. This is CPC mouthwash. It kills viruses. It's in most stores. This is a $60 to $70 air filter that's extremely effective and pretty quiet. I have some links in my bio for how to pick air filters, and I'll be doing some videos. Spoiler alert, don't just buy a random thing on Amazon, a lot of them suck. You can also wear eye protection like glasses, or there's something called stoggles that look like goggles. Go on my channel, I have a playlist now called Safety that has a bunch of different tips. This is kind of an individual plus cultural shift. We're going to have winter waves every single year for the foreseeable future. So the same way that this New Year's Eve was the second worst wave of the entire pandemic, well, the first worst wave was the winter of 2021, 2022. The next winter was the triple-demic, so just the last 3 winters have all been bad, and that is going to continue. So I have told people in my life, don't expect to see me for Thanksgiving, don't expect to see me for Christmas, New Year's. I am not going to jump on a plane or put myself at risk during the worst time of the year. I'm going to be doing more things in spring when it's relatively safe. You can do things outside, fewer people are sick. We just have to make that shift. If you insist on not changing anything and not, adjusting to reality, make sure that you and everyone else you're meeting with is being extra careful the week before, wearing masks and etc. But you're going to get sick if you keep, trying to live in a past world that's not here anymore. So the institutional responses is kind of a mix of all this. We need institutions to change their culture and incentivize things that keep us safe and healthy. They don't want to pay for a lot of these things, so we need to give them hell and say it's unacceptable to get your workers sick or to get kids sick. So air filters and masks work. Here's a study in Switzerland of schools. They found that people wearing masks reduced COVID in the air by 69%, and using air filters reduced it by 39%. A study of over 10,000 schools in Italy found that upgrading ventilation systems reduced COVID cases by 82%. There's a restaurant around Toronto, I think, called Apricot Cafe. They show air quality measurements. They have a bunch of air filters. They wear masks often, not all the time. That's an example of what a COVID-conscious business looks like. Also, if you're not wearing a mask and you have a coworker who does wear a mask all the time or sometimes, talk to them. They are fucking fighting a battle by themselves. I was that person. I was very lucky. I worked at a small place on a small team. 1 or 2 other people were receptive and they would wear a mask around me, or they wore a mask sometimes. I know someone who's the only person masked in the entire place they work. It is very lonely to know you're doing something smart for your health and for the safety of other people. So if you know anyone like that, please reach out to them and say, hey, I appreciate you wearing a mask. It takes a lot of courage to do that. I'm going to join you more often now. And lastly, just connection is what's going to be the answer. Solidarity, awareness. In my toolkit in my bio, there's a list of COVID advocacy organizations. There's also mask blocks that are springing up all around the country. You can look up where you live plus mask block, or clean air and the place you live, or some combination of those words. There's probably a group starting near you. So yes, if you are alone, fighting the government, fighting public health, fighting all the people who want to get you sick near you, you're going to not have a good time. If you meet even a couple people fighting back, you're going to feel so much better. And my last point, I think the denial is not really fun for anybody. The people who are ignoring COVID or just saying like, well, it's hard to avoid, so I'm going to give in, I don't actually think that's a happy life. And I see it in, people posting, why am I sick all the time? Or people are like, the vibes are off since the pandemic. Well, because we're still in a pandemic, the vibes are going to be off. Denial is not fun. Rejecting the truth that you should be able to see in front of your eyes, that everyone is sick more often, everyone has new health issues. That is not a fun life to live. I refuse to live that way, and I encourage you to join me.